Okay, welcome back. And today, my guest is Alexandra Nell. Say hi to everyone.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi.
Sorry, now I've got you. Right, got you on the screen. They missed your wave.
Oh,
Um,
that's all right.
so let's start off by talking about, well, what do you do? What is the thing that you love to do?
Sure. I love to act. I'm a trained actor. I'm a graduate from NIDA in Sydney,
Yeah.
and I also work as a production coordinator. So I work in front and behind the camera.
Now that's really interesting. What is a
Yeah.
production coordinator? Tell us about that because
Uh,
I remember when I first heard the word people talking about production or I'm a producer, I was like, isn't that like you're just the money guy,
no.
And then I think maybe it was Jodie Passmore. One of those guys was telling me. And they're like, well, I've got to organize, when we're going to screen and when we're going to shoot this and then where our location for this and that. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're like a manager, not like, like it's like management. That's like a full management position
I
doing
guess
that
so.
kind of
I
thing. But
mean, yes and no.
tell me, because I don't know. So, yeah, tell us
Well, I
what it
mean, you
is.
just kind of identified it. So
Oh,
a lot
sorry.
of the roles that go within that job is, scheduling, coordinating with people, making sure that everyone's got what they need in order to do something. And I guess like, yeah, making sure that everything runs smoothly. So yeah, I've been doing that for a few years now. I started off as like a production assistant and then slowly have just like worked my way
Yeah.
up a little bit, just getting more responsibility, I guess. And I guess now the title has come to production coordinator.
Yeah, right. And how deep does production go? So, like, are you involved in organizing storyboards and things like that as well?
No, no. I
No.
think that's sort of, I mean, from my experience, I'd be more like the producer or someone from more of like a creative level who would be assisting the director with like the storyboards and planning and pitching and stuff like that. Luckily, I haven't had to do that because I've seen people do it. And I'm like, I don't have that skill set yet.
Yeah. Now that's really interesting because there are so many different roles and different skills. So
Yeah.
going back to earlier, what you said was that you are a NIDA graduate.
Yeah.
Now, how much of your work at NIDA prepared you for that?
Oh, do you mean for production stuff?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
just, yeah, okay. Well, it's funny because it actually prepared me a lot. When I was at drama school in my second year at drama school, for some reason, I just thought, I need to do more with my time. I need to do more, more, more. And so I asked NIDA if I could keep my grades, could I start producing for Sydney Fringe? Because I had
Oh,
a
okay.
friend in the class whose brother was a playwright and she really wanted to do this show. And we were just going to do a really small thing. Didn't think it was going to go anywhere. And then Sydney Fringe were interested in doing the play. And then I was just going to be an actor in it. And then this is while we're still studying. And then I don't know, the conversation just kept happening and I kept just sort of doing a bit more of the organizational stuff. And then I was like, oh, actually, maybe I could just step back and do the producing of the play. And then yeah, we sold out the show like and had
Wow.
extra nights added onto it. So yeah, and then I did that in my third year again, and then the show was picked up and toured to like Adelaide Fringe. So I think NIDA in a way prepared me with that experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, and definitely time management is one thing that NIDA is, they're very rigorous with time and schedules and stuff like that. And I think I think I had a few mentors back in Perth that did producing for theatre who I called upon quite a lot, and they were sort of helping me throughout the process and mentoring me, and I would definitely be grateful for that. But
Yeah,
you know,
okay. That's really
little
interesting.
side story.
Yeah, nice. Now, okay, so what was that show?
The first one was called The Midwife,
Hmm.
and it was just very funny. And then the second one was called
Midwifery
Unend.
and funny? Midwifery and funny?
Yeah, no,
Tell me about
I
that.
I can't even remember what it's fully about. But yeah, there were
That's
some
okay.
people in my class that were in it, and
Yeah.
they were great performers. So
Yeah. Okay.
great
Okay.
experience.
Yeah. So,
But I
So,
definitely never wanted to produce again after that. Like I think I had a big burnout
oh,
and
okay.
I was like, never again. And then basically when I moved back to Perth, because I started going back and forth to the States, and I was like, well, if my base is going to be anywhere, Perth is
Yeah.
like optimum. Um, I think I was like, I got cast in a commercial and I was talking to someone about how I used to do producing. And they were like, oh, I'm looking for an assistant if you want to be a production assistant. And I was like, yeah, would love that.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that was about 4 years ago now, 3 years ago now. And so I've been like my little cashola job has just been
Yeah.
doing
Nice.
production stuff, which has been amazing. So those skill sets from theater to film kind of transferred a bit. And I think you just have to have the right personality just to go with the flow and be able to be organized, I think.
Yeah. A couple of interesting things you brought up there was that time management thing, which I'm horrible at, and
Oh,
I'm
I
sure.
feel like you're good at it. Just based on our correspondence, you're good.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I kind of have to be now because I'm working two jobs, which means I work every day. So,
Yeah.
I've just got to get like time bits and slot things in
Yeah.
and get them done. But the other thing is that what you're talking about before as well is that when you're a student, isn't it like you just want to do everything? And
Yeah.
like if an opportunity, you think, I can't say no. I can't say no because
I know.
I feel like, oh, can you do this play? Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And can you do this? And I remember I was in a guy's theatre project, man, and I got to the point where I was running around, didn't know whose play I was supposed to be doing when, and I missed his, like, performing for him. And I
Oh
just
my
felt
God.
horrible about it. And he's like, this is like before lots of mobile phone technology and that. And
Yeah.
he's like, the next day, where were you, man? And I was like, where was I? What? And he was like,
Oh no.
it was
You
my
need a diary.
performance. Yeah, well, yeah. See, yeah, I'm not really good at that either. But yeah, but like what you were saying, like with your doing production early on, and I can see
Yeah.
how you could get to the point of being, I don't want to do that, man. Like I just throw my head in because you probably had so
Yeah.
much other stuff going on,
Well, I
and you
mean,
feel
yeah, at
like,
the time, oh, I just lost the light. At the time, NIDA was 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. And then sometimes you're rehearsing till like 11 before they lock you out the building. And then Saturdays as well, you're kind of rehearsing or you're doing your readings for the week. And that's the same as Sundays when you're kind of like learning to be a person again. And I don't know, I think my brain was just like, anytime I had downtime, I guess, I was like, it was really nice to have something outside of the stress of drama school, which I think
yeah,
I put into the play where I was like, producing that, it was kind of like this really exciting thing to look forward to outside of like the stress of marks and,
yeah,
preparing for monologue or
yeah,
assessments. But
yeah,
me now, kind of looking back that experience, I'm like, dude, what were you doing? Like,
yeah, right.
you know?
So, in the sense of, do you think you were just taking on to way too much?
Oh, definitely. And I
Yeah,
I just think that I burnt myself out, because I just kept
yeah,
pushing myself and pushing myself. And then I think it was maybe, yeah, like the year after drama school where I just like, you're not going through the rigor of, an institution. You're kind of just like have so much free time. It was nice that I still had like other skill sets to do other things, but I was still like, oh, I wish I just sort of took it easy on myself, not to fill 24/7 with activities or film or theater or whatever, and just relaxed. Because it took
yeah,
me, I have to admit, and I make this joke quite a lot, is just like I had to learn how to go to the post office again, because you forget. Like I remember for the first day, it was like a Tuesday, and I was like, oh my God, I'm at the post office. Like, what do I do? Like, what do I buy? Because you were just like, because at NIDA, you could never like be at home for things to be delivered because you're at school all the time. And if you
yeah,
live
yeah.
by yourself or housemates were in class with you, you'd have to get like your bed frames and stuff delivered to NIDA. You would just have to
Yeah,
get it
right.
there and have a friend like help you carry it down the street. It's so funny.
Oh man.
So,
Yeah, I've got a funny story about that as well. So I was in the army for a while, and I went in when I was
wow.
about 23, but I'd lived at home until then. I was late leaving home for, I guess, for some people. So in the army's like your mother, and it does everything for you. Yeah,
Wow.
you don't have to worry about anything. Your food's done. You don't have to vote. You don't even have to vote when you're in the army. So you can just live your life and do that. So when I got out of the army, I had to pay electrical bills and phone
Yeah.
bills, and I had no idea how to do it.
Oh my gosh. So
I
funny.
actually had to ask my girlfriend at the time. So I see this thing's come in the mail, and I know it needs paying. So I mean, this was before anything, before the internet, right?
Yeah,
Before it
sure.
was
Sure, sure,
online.
sure.
So like you're saying about going to the post office, I had to go and do that, and I had to learn how to do that just because I had been in this institution, the military,
Yeah. Yeah.
and had to become a normal human being, like getting out of that and doing other things and strange things. Anyway, so let's get back to you and
No, I was into that story. So.
your time at NIDA. Are there some things that you learnt in NIDA that you would say, man, I'm so lucky or there were things that were like light bulb moments where you went, now I get it. Now I get
You know
it.
what? Like, I think the training really hit me years after.
Yeah, often. Yeah,
And it always is that way because you're bombarded with so much information all the time. And it really is not until you're like either a few years out or you go to another class or you hear someone talking about something that but they just articulate it in a very different way and it just unlocks everything that you've learned. I mean, I was pretty lucky with my cohort in that everyone is so different. We had a very diverse cohort. We had 13 women, 8 guys, and this is, 2013. And so everyone was like, I learned a lot from them, but then also with my teachers, they were kind of, I don't know, we had this American guy who was the head of our school at the time. His name was Jeff Januszewski, and he was very into like making art in the street and very like avant-garde kind of like
vibe. That's interesting. Yeah.
And that was kind of a bit of like a rebellion against what NIDA I think had been the years before, which is very like, here is the method, this is how you do it. And for him, he was like, well, you can't make art in a pressure cooker, so let's try and figure out who you are as an artist and then build you from that. And I think for me, that was a lot of light bulb moments. I think the reason why I really wanted to go, though, was because I felt like I just needed that little ticket, like that validation almost. Like if I got into drama school, that meant I had some good skill.
I could do it.
Yeah. And so when I got in, I was like, oh, this is it. But it was so terrifying and traumatizing because, you're living up to this expectation in your head and it's either exceeding it or not, and you just have to kind of keep growing with that, I think. So that's a roundabout way to answer your question, that I think I grew more as a person during that experience as opposed to necessarily the craft.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So was there, getting with that, like what you're saying, would you say there's a fair bit of self-reflexivity? Is that the word? But you know what I mean? Like self-reflection and getting to understand yourself some more.
Always. And you would have to, after every performance or every class or something, you would have to be able to feed back to the cohort about things that you got from the thing or what you didn't. We were very big on being able to articulate yourself. It's a skill I'm still learning.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is not so much being able to articulate yourself, but to understand yourself. Do you feel that was a skill that you picked up at NIDA?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, okay.
I think I've always kind of been someone who's very self-aware.
Okay.
Even since I was younger. But you definitely lose yourself for a bit in an institution when you're around so many different people and you start mimicking other people's behaviors and then you question what's you, what isn't. And then until afterwards you're like, oh yeah, that's not my habit, that's someone else's, or that's not my way of thinking, that's someone else's. And you just kind of let that go and then.
Yeah. So that's really interesting, right, to me, because your job is to not be you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it seems that knowing who you are is really, really important so that you know when you're not being you.
100%.
Yeah.
You just graduated from drama school, Kate. Congrats.
Woo! Chuck another one up on the wall there. Yeah, great. But it's an interesting idea because you spend your time not being you, and I think for people who might be watching this who are perhaps thought about acting or doing acting themselves or whatever, that idea of knowing you so you can know to not be you, I've found like in some of the productions that I've done or been in, that's been really difficult, to thing of, because you also want to be authentic, and so you also want to find that part of you that is that character.
I mean, yeah, I think there are a few different ways to look at it, and there's so many different conversations going around now about what is acting and good acting.
Yeah.
And a bit of it is kind of like talking about who you are as a person and what energy you bring.
Yeah.
Because I think they're looking at it from a casting perspective of, if I cast, let's say, Keith in a role and Alex in a role, what's their energy going to be like together and their chemistry and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that is something that you can't fake, So I think if you're playing like a real person, of course, that's transformative. You have to do all that research, knowing how your physicality is or your vocal qualities are. But most of the time, particularly in a film, they just want to see you, so it's less about you being a different person and more about, I don't know, I guess bringing the character to you, I think.
Yeah, it's,
I mean, it's a very, it's the question forever.
Yeah. I'm sure lots of people approach it in lots of different ways. And
so many.
Yeah, I think some people will go, "Yep, that's me. This is me." But also as people, we're very, very complex. So we have lots of different parts to ourselves, and perhaps there are some that we didn't know. And So I remember when I was doing a play at uni, I had to kiss a guy, right, in the play. And so I'm not gay, but I was playing that role, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was one of those things where, so how do you take that yourself into that role, yourself, and act that, and these things are very fascinating to me because so I was not being me, but I was still being very me, if you know what I mean.
I think you just have to think about like the human condition, and being a human being, right? And being like, we all have these emotions or these feelings or thoughts, and if you can identify with what the character wants, say in that particular moment, and you can resonate with something that's happened in your life where you felt that way. And I'm not talking about method acting where you go back into your path, but just being like, I can see or empathize with this character, then that's how you connect. That's how you get in, I think.
Yeah.
Because if it's outside of yourself and you start judging it a little bit and you're like, I'm not that, then that's going to be really hard to convince an audience.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, and also sometimes you've got to explore it. You've just got to do it and explore it.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, that's sort of why, rehearsals are so important.
Absolutely.
And, some films you don't get the luxury to have rehearsals, and, sometimes you do, but you just have to find, I guess, what works for you. But I think rehearsals or rehearsing something that you feel a little bit like nervous about is really important.
Yeah. Okay. Man, I love this. I could go with this for a long time because it's so fascinating about the human psyche, and also, portraying another human, and then also being validated for your portrayal of another human.
Totally.
Yeah, is really, really fascinating. The boundaries just get blurry and
sometimes if you get rejected or praised for your performance in something, or critiqued about the way you do something, it's quite difficult at times when you feel like you've done really good work or when you feel like you've done bad work to be able to separate yourself from that, and not take it personally and be like, but then you're like,
Yeah, I remember once I got written up as a ratty Russell Crowe. That's what that was my write-up.
I feel like that should be your new, YouTube handle.
Yeah, Ratty Russ. I might just put it on Twitter, Ratty Russ.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, but it was just in some senses I was like, and that's all you got from my
Oh my gosh.
performance was like, I look like this guy a little bit, but more ratty. So
Yeah.
that's it. So great. Yeah. Cheers. Okay. So I have a question for you, which is, was there a moment when you knew, hey, I'm good. You know, it's happening. You know, it's happening to me, and I don't mean necessarily where you got apart or something, but I can
Mm,
understand why it would have been when you get apart. But
mm,
that it's really hard. Like I was talking to Ant last week about you, and he was saying that he feels like a fraud. You know, he feels like,
mm,
and I think, and you know, teachers have this a lot because
mm.
you know, students,
Oh, of course.
you
Whenever I teach drama, it's like,
yeah,
just you wait, lol. Like,
yeah. Yeah, it's like, you know, I don't know everything, but they kind of expect you to know everything and they think you do know everything. And
mm,
it's good to be clear up front that you don't know
mm,
everything and try and get that back to them that I'm just a human, just like you, right? And I was once where you are, you know, and I know
yeah,
how to get you here where I am and I can help you do that. Uh,
yeah,
but yeah, just that sense of when you felt like this is me, this is Alexandra, you know, I can.
yeah. I mean, so I often still to this day, it's a daily or an hourly or minute thing. Sometimes where I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
I'm great. No,
yeah. I think
yeah, I mean, I could just go off what the first feeling was when you asked that question. And I remember it was my first film I did outside of drama school. I got flown back to Perth to do a short film called We Were Here with my good friend David Vincent Smith.
yeah. That's one.
And
I just
yeah,
watched that. That's really good. I enjoyed
oh
that.
yeah,
But I'd
thanks.
lots to talk about that too. By the way, if you want to get into it later, we can talk about
Yeah,
that.
sure, sure, let's
Yeah,
do it. But I remember it was like our first day on set, and we had to do like the epic bus scene, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And Dave just gave me so much permission just to do what I wanted. And I remember hearing audibly people behind the monitor kind of be like, are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? And I was just
yeah. I'm
like,
getting
it
it.
was
I'm
just a
nailing it.
moment for me that felt like, oh my God, like there is nothing better than this feeling in the world about feeling like you can do something that's changing people or giving someone
Yeah,
a feeling. But then, I mean, obviously, like I go in waves.
yeah,
There were
yeah,
days on that set where I was like, oh, it must be really shit. There are days where I was like, this is going really well. But you have to
yeah,
sort of know for yourself, I think, to assess yourself and be like, am I enjoying this or not? And that's where I feel like I'm good is when I'm really enjoying myself. Because the product
yeah,
could be really awful, but if I'm enjoying myself, that's when I feel like I'm good.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
That's
because
the
you can't always judge yourself on other people's validation, I suppose.
yeah. It's a really strange
It's so
thing.
subjective.
It is.
You
It
know,
is.
everyone's going to have different taste, and
Oh, definitely, definitely.
so
It's really interesting because the other side of it is that people say that you never really see yourself clearly, but other
mm,
people can see you much more clearly than yourself. So I wonder if
mm,
maybe it's choosing the voices that you listen to. You know, like the
yeah.
ones like maybe you don't know me, so you know, you can say I'm a ratty Russell Crowe, and you know,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
whatever. But like if Ant says something to me, or if Zach had said something to me, or Ben, or any of those
yeah.
guys, it would be okay, right? Because you guys know me, and like
I mean,
you
all
actually
three of
spent
those
time
people
with
that
me.
you've just mentioned, like they're people that I really do respect and look up to. You know, same with you know Ali and Lauren Brunswick and
Mm,
all
mm,
of these wonderful people in town.
yeah,
But again, everyone has different tastes, so I think it depends on what the thing is that you're wanting to ask them about. Because I think sometimes we ask people their opinions because they're always going to give us praise, and sometimes that's not
yeah,
constructive.
yeah,
So there's if I'm doing an audition or something like that and I need feedback, I'll always send it to my management, and then they'll sort of decide for me. Or there's like maybe one or two people that I'll send my tests to because we have the same taste. Like if they do a audition or if they're doing a film and they ask my feedback,
mm,
I'm probably going to be quite in line with what they're looking for as well.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Whereas, other people, they can give me feedback and I'm like, you've missed what I've tried to do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But, it's just different.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, right? Because with acting, right, it's so personal. It's personal for the person doing the acting, and it's very personal for the people watching the acting. And so when you say things and you really need to have people that you can trust.
Yeah.
When you're asking people about what you're doing, or when you're saying, someone's asking you, you should be honest, and you should be able to say, look, I thought it was shit, but it's not, and not in the sense that just because I didn't like it doesn't mean it's not good, right?
Yeah. I mean, I actually think that, I think it's Ben who does this, because I think I remember asking him once about like how he gives feedback. And I don't mean to speak on behalf of him, because it might not even be him.
Well, he did speak a bit on the show about how he does that anyway. So.
Where he basically just like feeds back to what he thinks the story is.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if this is what the story is, this is what my feedback is. And I've kind of like, the minute he sort of said that, I was like, that is the best way to articulate something, because I guess if I ever have to watch someone's film and feedback, I'll always try and be like, well, this is the message that I got from this film, or this is what I think it's about. And here are the notes that pertain to that. Because if I've missed what the film's about, don't bother reading, because I've missed the point. So all of my notes are going to be wrong if that's not the message. Because if the message is wrong, or the synopsis that I've got is wrong, then that's a bigger problem.
Yeah. Now, again, very interesting. So how much information do you get before you do an audition?
Oh my gosh, it depends.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure that people have for every film, I'm sure there's a different way of doing it, because it's so many different individuals.
I mean, look, the best way that I like to obviously receive my stuff is if someone sends the full script. And then they'll send the audition scenes, so you can see where the scenes fit in the context of the film, right? So you know what you're pitching to. You can sort of identify what the tone and genre is pretty quickly, because sometimes if you just get, 10 lines on a page, you're like, I could do anything with this, and that's so scary.
Yeah, it is.
But and then sometimes they'll just send you like this massive, like 2-page character Bible, like their bio of this character that has nothing to do with the scenes. And you're like, I don't need to know that she did this when she was 5. Like, it means nothing, I don't know how to play that.
Yeah, big backstory.
And then sometimes when it's so short, you're like, that, again, it leaves it for interpretation. At least you've got a bit more freedom with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of see it like when you were saying just getting the 10 lines. I can kind of see why people would do that, because it leaves the interpretation to you. It also means that you can bring something new to them that perhaps they haven't thought of. And
totally.
And
I mean, they generally would give you a bit of like a briefing or an intro or something like that to what they're expecting for the scene. Yeah. So you're not just doing anything. But yeah, I think I actually was listening to, I think it was Ellen Page saying this. I think it was her. Could be wrong. Just giving everyone these quotes, so it's not them. But
go for it.
Oh no, it wasn't. It was someone else. It was not Ellen Page. But they were talking about how sometimes when people audition, or they send out auditions to actors, and they'll get them to do like 7 to 10 pages worth of scenes for the audition. And that happens quite a lot. It's more predominant in America. Okay. But then what they know is that casting directors or producers or directors will only watch maybe 30 seconds of the tape and not watch the full audition. And it's like, if you've made me sacrifice my weekend or my week to learn all of this, like, because you memorize it and then put it down, call friends to do this, and you're not even going to give me, the courtesy to watch my audition, like, don't fucking send the tape. If you know you're only going to watch a minute, send a minute worth of a scene, and make me learn the 7 pages for a callback, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's tough, but I really liked hearing that, because it kind of just gave us a bit more of empowerment to be like, you know what, I'm going to really put the effort and energy into this, but I really hope that whoever's watching on the other side is actually giving us courtesy to watch it and respect to watch it.
Excellent. Great advice, I
I
think, for
seemed
people.
really
People.
feisty then.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's good, you know. It's good to. Well, I mean, you know, if you're impassioned and there's something that you feel strongly about, that you know, that's a good thing to say. And I can understand that being an actor and having to deal with things that you just make you uncomfortable or feel like you've wasted your time. You
And
know.
I mean, you know, you can look at it in so many different ways of like the audition or whatever was good practice or it was great to get in front of this person. Like it's not always about booking the role and it really never is. It's more just about building more connections or trying new material or trying something different. Um, but I think, yeah, you just got to respect yourself sometimes. Like,
Yeah, and also, you know, you're not just a slave, you know, you're not just labor. You are there to do a job. I mean, oh, I'm about to get into dangerous territory, but I mean, you're not a model, you know, you're not just a clothes hanger walking
mm,
down the,
mm,
you know, and I mean, you might do that well, you might walk down the thing well, and it's, I'm not having
no.
a shot at models, but my point is that there's a lot more involved and a lot more of your time and also your knowledge, you know, that you
Mm,
bring to your part, and that should be respected. And I think sometimes, I don't know, I could be just talking crap now, but
no,
I,
I
I, I
hear.
think sometimes that gets overlooked. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I think people do tend to go, "Wow, she looks right. She looks right for that thing," and often it comes down to a specific look or a specific, you
Yeah.
know, what they've had in their mind.
And I
And
mean, that is valid though. You
yeah,
know, if you're
definitely.
creating a project and you're putting money into it, you know, you want to make sure that it does fulfill the vision. And sometimes people do get surprised. Like they'll see someone audition, they're like, I never thought the character would be like that, but now that you've done it like that, I can't imagine it another way.
Yeah, yeah. And that's one of the things I really loved about when I was talking with Ben, that he said, you know, he likes the idea of collaboration, you know, with his actors, and he goes down that road of he's willing to be surprised, you know, by
Mm,
something different, something new. And I think, you know, and I think also he spoke about the people that are the money people that tend to not be that way. They've got it in their head. It's got to be, I'm paying the money and it's got to look like how I had it in my brain, you
mm,
know, and subsequently can make a not as good movie because they're not open to those things where magic happens. You know, I've talked about
yeah.
that with a few guests on the show that there seems to be a point where something unscripted or something gets thrown in there or someone has an idea or something, and then everyone's just like, wow, that,
Yeah.
you know, we couldn't have thought of doing it another way after we've seen it done that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had any moments like that when you've been
Oh, for
doing anything?
sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, as in, do you mean where I'm just kind of going for it and then it's ends up in
Yeah.
the edit? And
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
like where, yeah, it's kind of brave, I think, of an actor
Well,
to do that.
yeah, totally. I mean, I think if you know that the director really trusts you, then you feel like you have more permission just to try things, no matter if it looks bad. You
Yeah.
know, you just kind of go for it. I think like that's why, you know, I've worked with Dave for 6 years now. Oh no, longer. It would be 8 years now we've been working together, like collaborating just on different little projects and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's someone that I know really trusts me. So, and then, you know, there are other directors that I work with that have a very similar energy and they're kind of just like, you know what, you just do what you want. Or they'll be there behind the monitors and be like, keep going, keep going. And then I just sort of push myself. And that is so amazing. You know, that's a
Yeah.
really amazing feeling.
Now
Just
this
to put
is,
your artistry on the line, you know?
yeah, this is a really, really interesting place that we're going, is that idea of creative freedom and
Yeah.
the idea of the talent, if you want to call it that, being trusted to be the talent, you know.
Mm,
And I think because you end up with more responsibility, you end up taking that responsibility and making
Mm.
something really good. A thing like, so this is going to be sound possibly weird, but in the classroom, right, if I have bad kids, I will try and give them some responsibility, something
Mm.
that, and it's amazing how things change when people are given responsibility. But
Mm.
it's like in a classroom, okay, so it's not very ballsy to do it as a teacher to give a bad kid responsibility, because you can just say, "Oi, shut up, sit down, and no more are you," right?
Yeah.
But for a director, it's pretty ballsy to throw out the responsibility. But also, I think there's something in that you as a talent are now feeling really respected and are feeling like,
Mm.
why don't you do it your way and
Mm.
show us what you got, and let's not
Yeah.
not worry about how it
I mean, you don't have to use it in the edit. You can just try things and have new
yeah,
options. And then, if it doesn't work, I mean, that's sort of something though that I am very aware of. It's like I'm not an editor and I'm not a director. So things that I am doing though might not work, but at least we've tried it and it's out of my system or it's out of the director's system. And
yeah, yeah,
then you
yeah,
move back to what's actually the story and because the whole vision, when that comes together, it's not just about the actor, obviously. It's like, it's the editor, it's the music, it's the background people,
yeah,
it's the production design, it's every single person involved in a film set that make this thing work. The lighting, all of it. So I think sometimes you can get carried away as actors to be like, oh, this moment's got to be like this. But really, all you need is just a look and then the lighting to hit at the right point and then the music, the score to come up, and it's mint.
yeah. I remember reading Sir Anthony Hopkins being interviewed about some of the scenes that he's done,
Hmm.
where he wasn't doing dialogue, and they were like just capturing a look, that look on his face,
Mm,
and the audience, as audience, we project things onto what we see on the screen.
yeah.
And they said to him, "What were you thinking about when you had this, like, this intense moment?" And he said, "Well, I was thinking about what I was going to buy at the grocery store on
Yeah.
Sunday, But it's one of those things where the audience does a lot of work. It does a lot of work for you as
Yeah.
well, like you say, and also the editors and all the behind the scenes people who make you look great. I mean, they're the people.
Well, they make the story great.
Yeah, yeah,
Because really everyone's put a lot of time, if not more time than the actors have, because they've either had longer with the script and story or the team. And,
yeah.
so it really, you have to be really grateful for the sets or costumes they get to play in because that really is awesome.
Yeah, I think that goes probably back to the inner child of playing dress ups, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had a question and I've just forgotten it. Um, so let's go back as far as we can again. So
Sure.
you went to NIDA. So what was the
Mhm.
progression for you, right? So when you finished NIDA, what happened?
Oh, so I was in Sydney for a year, but I'd won a scholarship that I applied for through NIDA. It was
Yeah.
the Leslie Warford Creative Achievement Scholarship. And so I got to go to the States through that.
Hmm.
And basically, I just contacted a lot of friends that I had there. Someone called Julia Nagao, who's like an amazing emerging director, and she's based in New York.
Yeah.
We collaborated on a short film called Eudaimonia, and it was amazing. It was such a good experience. And then I sort of started to realize, like, oh no, I think for the sort of work that I was interested in, LA is probably where I'm going to get that,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
New York was where I was going to get that. And so then I started making that my new little goal was to keep getting back and forth to the States. And, then subsequently I moved back to Perth and I had a wonderful housemate at the time who we collaborated on a lot of films together and, still collaborate to this day. We're just on different, she does quite a lot of theatre and writing and directing and
Yeah.
producing and stuff like that. So she's awesome like that. But then I think, yeah, I just have found myself being sort of at the beginning, like the seed of creating ideas with people, and then they go away and write it, and
Yeah.
then I'll jump on the project.
Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting. I have this thing where, a completely unmarketable thing. But
Yeah.
I have this thing where if someone has an idea, I can really help them with it, and
Oh,
I can
lucky.
I can take it somewhere
Rusty
new.
Russ.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. But it's like you can't market that. There's no like it's not a saleable thing. It's not. But if anyone ever asks me,
I'm just
oh, do you have? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Do you have ideas about this, or have you like listened to this idea and what do you think? And then whenever I get talking to them, I always seem to be able to have good input and to be able to take them somewhere new, with it. And I've done it many, many times with many, many people in many different situations. And I'm not talking just, I'm talking like with motorbikes. I'm talking with, electronics. I'm talking with, different things here and there. But I seem to have that capacity where I may not be the guy that has the super creative original idea, but if you've got one, I can kind of go with you on that journey and just throw things at you that you'll go, wow, I didn't, wow, yeah, and I meant that, yeah, and I was like, yeah, and
Hey,
what about this? And
awesome.
yeah,
What a skill.
it's a great thing to have, but it's a really difficult thing to use because you have to, or you don't have to. I mean, I don't have to do anything, but people have to like ask me or trust me in that sense,
Yeah,
and that's a
sure.
really difficult thing to market, like or to say to someone,
The ideas
if you just
guy.
ask me, man, I'll totally help you with that. And they're not sure, and I'm sure lots of people are like, yeah, sure, you're full of shit and you don't have great ideas and all that sort of thing. But it just seems to work for me that way, and historically in my life that's been how it's happened. But it's a very, very strange talent to have because it only ends up being people who end up being, I think, close to me tend to
Mm.
be the ones that get the benefits of it because they're the ones that will ask, whereas
Yeah,
like
sure.
other people are just aren't going to go, hey, Keith, so what do you reckon? Other
That's so
people are
funny.
just like, oh, you don't know shit. Like,
Have you seen the TV series Nathan for You with Nathan Fielder?
no, I haven't. And I don't know what's just happened, but you've frozen up on the screen.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, that's so I've flicked back to me now. But
Oh my gosh.
no, I haven't. So tell me about this show, and I'll just maybe keep the thing on me until you unfreeze.
Okay. So Nathan for You is a TV series with this guy named Nathan Fielder, and it's on the Comedy Channel. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is just because you were talking about being an ideas guy, and
Yeah, it's so
he is.
bad.
It's very funny, in my opinion. It's
Yeah,
something that you can just sort of watch in the background, and you're like, this is hilarious.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's I'm reminded of what was that super Australian drama? It was like that's going straight to the pool room.
No,
The
I don't know what that
Castle. Do you
is.
remember The Castle? Did you ever see The
Oh
Castle?
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Serenity.
yeah. So his son is like he's an ideas guy. He's an ideas
Oh
guy,
my
and
gosh.
that was just a terrible thing to be because he had terrible ideas. He was an ideas guy, but he had terrible ideas. I'll tell you what. I'm going to pause us here until we get you back. Okay.
No worries.
Okay, and we're back. So yeah,
Hey.
unfortunately, yeah, that little glitch, which will get knit together, and I won't cut it out. I will, be true to my word and keep. I try to keep it as live as possible because, the thing for me with the podcast is the people who watch it or listen to it. I want to be the third person in the room. I feel like I want them to just be, we're having a chat and they can see what we
Yeah.
chat about.
Yeah.
So let's get back to your story. So you said you went to America, right? And so it sounds
Yeah.
like you went to New York first. Did you go to New
Yep.
York first and then to LA?
Yeah. That's
Yeah, okay.
correct.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what happened in New York because that was part of your scholarship, right?
Yeah. So this is September 2016, before all of the elections were happening at that point, and we were doing the film over there. And I don't know, I'd never been to the States before. But it
Yeah,
was
right.
kind of I don't know, there was something about it. It was just so vibrant, and everyone you met was an actor. So it wasn't so weird to being like, oh, I'm an actor.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know, there's just something about, I mean, it might be changing, but
Mm.
I think when you're over here, sometimes people are like, what are you doing? You're like, oh, I'm an actor. And they're like, what have I seen you in? Home and Away? And you're like, no,
Oh.
no, maybe soon. I don't know.
Did you
Casting
know?
directors, if you're listening.
Did you know Andy Supans? Did you know Andy Supans?
Mm-mm.
Okay, yeah, here's a guy I went to uni with who ended up doing Australian TV. But anyway,
Oh, amazing.
back to
Anyway,
you.
so then I went to LA and for a few days, and that was sort of the end of my trip. Then went back to New York, and then basically I went back to Sydney for 2 weeks, packed up my apartment, and moved back to Perth.
Wow. Now,
Yeah.
yeah, great story. Uh, so in New York,
Hmm.
what did you learn?
What did I
What did
learn?
you come away with? Maybe that's a better question. What did you come away with from
How
that?
amazing the subway system is, and how terrible the L train is.
Yeah, righto.
So,
Okay.
the
Um,
L train is the thing that basically connects, Manhattan to Brooklyn and stuff. And yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I haven't been back to the States since COVID hit, but I
yeah.
was there when COVID was a thing. So I got back on the 16th of March this year,
Mhm.
back from LA, and it was just like everyone was sick on the flight. And
Oh
when I came
man.
back, it was like I was sick. I had to like wring out my shirts because I was sweating so much.
Wow.
And I had like the worst sore throat. And I went to the doctor, and they're like, oh, well, I called the doctor and was like, I think I'm sick. And they're like, your age group isn't affected. There's no cases in America. So
Yeah.
we can't test you. Treat it like the flu.
Oh,
But they were
really?
like, but it sounds pretty bad. So call coronavirus hotline. And I did.
But it
And
sounds
then
pretty
they were like,
bad.
go to emergency, went to emergency. And then they were like, yeah, we can't actually test you because your age group isn't affected and you haven't been, there's no cases in the States. So treat it like the flu and stay home. And I was like,
Man.
sure.
Wow.
So
Um,
that's my last recollection of the States. Was being
wow.
sick.
Oh, how horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in LA, what did you do? What were you doing when you went to LA?
So the first time when I was in LA, I was having meetings with different management, and my agent at the time had come over with me. This was in 2016, and we were just having meetings and getting to know people. And I signed with someone at that time, and it was a great partnership.
Mm.
Um, but then, yeah, when I sort of moved home, like work was just I was sort of creating a lot of the work that I was doing, and then management sort of shifted and changed.
Okay.
And the last couple of times that I've been back, once was for Zach's film Rattlesnake
Yep.
in New Mexico, which was
Hmm.
so cool. I'm such a fan of New Mexico.
Yeah,
If
right.
you if you ever go to the States, like I'm 10 out of 10 saying go to Santa Fe. It's
Yeah, wow.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
that's awesome. So yeah, tell us about New Mexico
Oh
and
my
your
gosh,
experience of
I
New
can just talk
Mexico.
about it all the time. I loved it.
Do it, do it.
So yeah, the film was being shot in like just outside of like Albuquerque and Santa Fe. So Santa Fe is like up this really steep sort of mountainy area. So you're like lightheaded all the time. It's quite weird
Yeah,
because of
right. Okay.
the, I
The
suppose,
thin
climate
air,
and
yeah, the
stuff.
thin air and
Um,
the altitude.
but altitude, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And there's so many art galleries around. It's got such a vibe to it.
Mm.
And I don't know, the energy in that place was amazing. And then we were filming the film in New Mexico, and that was just like an awesome experience on top of that. So I think my experience of New Mexico was just like, this is awesome. And I think the people that I met on the shoot some of them were like locals to New Mexico and Santa Fe, and they were just like the best people. And like you were just talking to someone in the like who was doing your makeup, and you're like, have you been like, and they're like, oh yeah, just wrapped up XYZ shoot, and you're like, holy shit, you were incredible. Like I try not to fangirl on
Yeah,
everything and
yeah,
get the
yeah,
goss,
yeah.
but
Of course,
you know.
of course. Yeah, I have that thing too where like even with people I know, like even with Ben and that, it's kind of hard for me not to fanboy because I know him, but also like he's done so well, and it's one of
Yeah,
those things where you just get stuck up, get caught up in that. Um,
yeah, definitely.
with you, right? It's being the ghost. So how much makeup was involved in that?
Well, you know what's funny is with that there was actually like it was shot in we had like an alternative sort of, I don't know how much I can spoil. You know what? If you haven't seen Rattlesnake,
Oh yeah.
pause for
Stop,
15
yeah, stop,
seconds.
go watch it. Go watch it and come back.
So
Yeah.
just flick for 15 seconds. So I'll make this quick. Spoiler coming in 3, 2, 1. We actually did another little alternative shot where someone was actually throwing acid on me, and so we had this amazing special effects guy who had like, we had like ooze and guts and stuff like
Oh,
coming out of my
wow.
costume. And because I was staying at Zach's house the week before, because I had to fly to Santa Fe to sort of have like a costume test, and we were sort of talking one night, and it's like, if this, because it was originally going to be VFX, and then we thought, no, let's just do it live.
Yeah.
I don't know why I say we. I was nowhere involved in this process, but they were like, we're going to do this live. And so we shot that, but he was like, as an alternative, how else, could you die? Maybe your neck could break. And then I was like, I can actually like twist my neck pretty far.
Yeah, right.
And then we were just like talking about that over beers, and it was like, we ended up just doing that as a safety take.
Yeah, okay.
And then they went that way in the end.
All right, so I'm going to just be like your adversary now and get right into the spoiler alert thing. So was the plan to actually show, and so I don't know if you know or if you're allowed to say or whatever, but the plan with that, because, the storyline of it is that, life for a life, and there were many life for a lives that happened, and you were one of them, right? And you're one of the people that was taken as the payment for another life.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm really interested because when you said that there was this backstory part of the acid, was the plan to show the life for a life's, like the deaths of each of the
Well, I mean, you can kind of like, it's kind of insinuated, the kid smashes his head, and the person, the trucker with the bullet holes and stuff like that, you're kind of like, oh, I can imagine that that's how they died. So for me, what would have happened was someone for some reason threw acid on me when I was hiking, which would have been a really gruesome and cool death, but I guess someone's decided to break my neck.
How dare they? How dare they deny you your acid death?
Do you know what? And it was so funny because we were filming it, and like the pipe got stuck in my costume, and then it just wasn't coming out the way that we needed to. But then I just like shifted my body, and the whole thing just like exploded across like the crew that was standing there. It was so gross, and I loved it. Everyone was like, "Oh."
Oh, that's just absolute gold. Absolute gold.
I know.
Yeah,
hopefully
but
I can dig up some BTS pictures. I might have to ask Zach if he's got any.
Yeah.
Because I remember Zach took some pictures and he was like, Alex, this is gross. I was like, highlight of my life.
Yeah. I mean, and these are the wonderful things that people miss, and they don't get to know about the actual fun of making movies.
Yeah, definitely.
I did I was in Zach's, I think maybe his first film. But one of the things is like, I was the bad guy, right? And I had to break this window with
Rusty Russ.
Yeah, with a baseball bat, right? So I had to like smash this window, and it was his car. It was Zach's car. And,
oh my gosh.
So he had this car called Big Red. That was his name for the car. And I had to hit, and they'd bought a new window for it. So, and shatter this glass on the people that were in the car, right? So
oh my gosh.
this is going back a long way, right? So now I don't know if you've ever tried to smash a car window with a baseball bat. Not as easy as it looks. And I think, first take bounced straight off. Second take, because
my gosh.
Because I'm also, I don't want to like, shatter and just cover, and they were like, just do it, just keep doing it, just keep hitting it, just keep hitting it.
Yeah.
And then smash, and then of course they've got the fake blood on them, and that shit is sticky, and so they're like these little taking these bits of glass off them.
My gosh.
But it's one of those things, when you make a movie, it's not just all hard work, it's fun.
No.
There's a lot of fun involved. And I think people who don't do it don't know about that, but it's a really cool part of making movies as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So do you have any more experiences like that?
Oh, do you mean like where the stories just changed,
Or
or?
where things have changed, or where, people have just thrown something in there and it's gone a different direction, or
Ooh.
oh, actually, before we go into that,
Yeah, go for it.
actually, I'm just going to jump away from that,
Yeah, go for
because
it.
you've sent me the link for the abduction teaser, and
Yes.
I just totally want to see it.
Oh my God.
Saw
Yay.
the teaser, and so I showed it to some people at work because I was saying to them, like in China, they they don't get what we get. It's not available to them,
Right.
like, so movies and that. Like, even when I was talking about Rattlesnake to them, I was trying to, like, and it took a long time for them to be able to find it, to
Right.
be available to watch it. Where was I going with this? So
Abduction. You showed them the
yeah,
trailer.
So yeah, I was saying about this trailer, Abduction, and then they went on all these tangents with it, and I was really excited
What?
by them going, oh, so it's spooky, it's like, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, and then they're like, and it's this and it's that, and I saw how much they got from the trailer,
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
yeah, and it was really fascinating, and I'm really keen to see it, to see where it goes, because alien
Yeah.
abduction is one of those things, and I don't know if you know, or during the elections, like in the lead up to the elections, the American government actually released some information about their UFO program,
No.
and kind
Keep
of
blowing my mind. No.
the reality of it, and maybe they have some stuff.
Shut the front
And
door.
this all got released. It got released quite publicly, but Trump being Trump and hogging the media, I guess, as he does, or as he did, um, it all kind of just went under the radar. But it was released. It was released by the government. It was released by the government. We
Wow.
have this. We have this stuff. We have this footage. We have this thing. It's not from Earth. It's there's
Shut the front door.
yeah,
No
like
way.
massive, massive, massive things. Yeah, Google, get on Google, go down the rabbit hole. But
No.
it's right there. Yeah,
No.
it's right there. And
Scary.
yeah, and so I'm fascinated by the alien abduction thing, and there's a lot of people, many people have had these stories, and talked
I
about these
know.
kind of things, and the idea of it, and it's really hard to tell where you're going with it, right? Because I like to like, so this is, do not take this the wrong way, right? But
Okay.
the vacuum seal bag thing was like, I was like,
Yeah.
I was watching that and I was thinking, how the hell did they do that? Did they actually get like this
Oh
massive?
yeah. Paul Comedina put me in a vacuum seal bag and literally vacuumed it up.
Really? Is that, because that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking they did, and I was like, yeah, wow, it's
Um,
hilarious.
yeah. So this is when you really trust your collaborators.
Oh yeah, to get you
And don't
out.
worry, and like it was very consensual. I definitely gave him my consent to do that. And we were very safe. Like we did have quite a few people on standby with like Stanley knives and everything like that in case anything was to happen.
Yeah.
And we were very particular in Cody Greenwood, who I just like, she's an incredible, incredible producer. And was just like, right, I'm standing here for 15 seconds. That's how long you've got to get the shot. But yeah, basically, we bought a vacuum seal bag off the internet. Don't try this at home, folks, unless you have appropriate people around.
Big one too. It was a big one.
Yeah,
It's not for a steak.
Like, we were doing it in a studio, and it was wild. The thing literally suctioned my whole body.
Yeah, wow.
But the shot was cool. So.
Oh, the shot was awesome. I like when I saw that shot, I was thinking, because you're like, how the hell did they do that shot?
That's exactly how you think.
And then I started thinking, well, that's gotta be a thing. Like, that's a thing that you can tell your grandkids about, that you got For my
Well,
art, darling, for my art. I did
yeah,
this for my art. I got vacuum sealed into a
I
bag for
know.
my
Well, we
art.
just got review. Well, not, I don't know if it's review, but we got a write-up in Empire magazine this morning.
Oh, wow.
So I know it's so surprising. Like one of my best friends, she was at the airport last night and was just like, saw Chadwick Boseman on the cover, and she's like, "Oh, I miss him." And then like open up, and we're like on page 3 of 3 important film moments to watch for the
Mm,
month. And it's like our
wow.
film. And she's like, "I saw your face." I started screaming. The airport security were really weird about it, but it was important. And I was like, "You're amazing." But so we're there because the film, yes, it's about an abduction, but the backstory, which isn't, you know, spoiling anything, but it's based on getting your drink spiked. So it has like a
Mm,
whole other
mm.
undercurrent of what the film's about.
Yeah, I
And
mean, there did seem that
yeah,
element of, the paranoid boyfriend, I don't know, husband or whatever. Did you sleep with someone or whatever? That's in the
yeah.
trailer there.
And it's just about like, blacking out, not knowing what you did, and like almost having this out of body, otherworldly experience of trying to convince people that you didn't do something when there's evidence that it was you, and you're like, that wasn't me at all. So
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's
I
like,
know.
and people with mental health issues go through those kind of things as well.
Disassociative moments, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I have a friend who who's actually been on the podcast, and we did speak about it. Who had a psychotic break? He
Wow.
actually, you know, just went somewhere else.
Mm,
And talking about it, and it's a fascinating thing, and it's a fascinating subject, and also how you deal with it. And I think also people relate to that when they watch a movie, because I think everyone kind of fears that their own mental stability in some sense, that
mm,
um, could I lose it at some point,
mm,
and could something
mm,
like that happen to me where I'm now trying to explain something that I'm not actually 100% sure of what I did, and completely
mm.
completely destabilizing, and
Totally.
what a wonderful thing to put into an alien abduction
Mm.
movie, because
Yeah,
it's you know
totally.
yeah, it's a great thing, and it's going to mess with people, and that's exactly what you want to do, because it's that style of film.
Oh,
But
totally. And
but
I mean, obviously there are so many sci-fi elements to it, where I get to like pull wires out of my body and
oh,
stuff like
wow,
that. So,
yeah, great,
there was a lot of fun. So much fun.
yeah,
I guess
yeah,
similar to the thing with Zach's film, like with the goo that
yeah,
I was
yeah.
talking about. I got to have those moments in a vacuum seal bag on this one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so with that, right, with appearing in Empire,
Mm,
and getting such a wonderful write up, and people talk,
yeah,
when people are talking about you, you're doing something good, right? Like,
yeah.
it's there, it's in you're getting the spotlight, and people are interested in what you've done.
Mm.
Do you think that these kind of things, like appearing in Empire, or things like that, are you hopeful for the people who produced and made this film, that this might be a door opener, like a big door opener for
Absolutely.
them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope so. Like, I think our community here is it is quite small, and we're all just really good friends.
Mm.
So I think no matter what, you want your friends to do really well, and you want this to be door openers for anyone. Because I think as well, everyone really believed in the project. If we're just talking about abduction right now, it's like everyone sort of knew what we were doing, and we had a great time doing it. And so it's like great now that we get to see it sort of having a bit of a life of its own. Like the other day, we played in Washington, and for some reason, I had no idea, but I won Best Actress for it. And I was like,
Yeah.
and I just like woke up to this like notification. I was like, what? And then like the first person I called was like my mom, and I was like, Mom. Then I called my dad, and they were like, what? And I don't know, stuff like that where you're just like, I can't believe that this thing that we made in 2018, that is now obviously going through its festival run, because it
Yeah.
had like, lengthy post production and
Okay.
VFX and
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's like you forget. And then it's like, oh my God, this is actually resonating with people. And particularly when you watch your stuff, for so long during the edits or whatever. And maybe I saw a few versions of it before we screened. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. And you're so critical of yourself, being like, oh, I could have done this different or
Yeah.
whatever. But then to know that people still like it, you're like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah, well,
Let's do it again.
I
Let's make
think,
another one.
yeah, I think if you end up getting like a best actress, people don't just
Yeah.
actually just like it. You know, I think it's a bit more than that, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
You don't know?
I
You're
mean, I
not
hope,
sure?
I mean, I don't, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
To
I'm just still so like gobsmacked.
Yeah, yeah, and this is the thing I also was chatting to Ant about as well, that it's really for Australians, right? It's really really hard for us to accept this
I
kind of
know.
praise, you know, like for
Yeah.
because we have the big tall poppy syndrome, and it's like if anyone does well, then it's like, well, I'm just going to cut you down and bring you back down here with us losers, right? Because we
Yeah.
don't like,
How dare you
yeah, how dare you do so well and be so great? But in
be
it,
so good at what you do?
yeah, but in America, you know, people praise each other and go, "Hey, look at my friend; he's done this, and it's so
I
awesome, and look at
know.
what they've done, and
Yeah.
you know, isn't that wonderful?" And
I mean,
so,
it's, yeah.
well,
I definitely think that like I've been quite lucky though with like a lot of my friends and collaborators that have been really positive and I mean I think the world of Ant, like I'm
yeah,
just so proud of him and
oh
stuff like that.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's good to have the right people in your corner. If you do, biggest advice for anyone is if you ever have anyone in your corner that's making you feel shit for something or putting you
Yeah.
down for an achievement, then they're not worth it.
Oh, absolutely. And also, I'm going to throw this at you, right?
Yeah,
Personally,
go for it.
uh, grab it with both hands and say, shit, yeah, I did it and I'm good, right? And take that
Yeah.
and have it, you know, and own it and say, that's
Oh.
mine and I got it and it was me. I did that work and that's me. I got that.
Oh
And
yeah.
take it and own it and love it, you know, and take it with you into life, you know, and move forward with it positively
Yeah.
and feel good about it. You know, it's so many times I hear people just like, oh, you know, someone else and
It's that fraud syndrome, though, that you were talking about earlier,
yeah,
about
it
people
is.
feeling like, oh, if they look at it through a microscope, they'll see it's not
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. You know, you just we have so many things that we learn in life where people tell us we're not that good, and then we hang on to them
Yeah.
and like, yeah, you know, maybe I'm not that good. But you know what? A whole bunch of people thought you were really good and you got an award by those
Yeah.
people for doing that. And it was for you, right? It was
Yeah.
no one else. It was you. They were saying, you did this and we think you were the best. You were the best, right? And
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, I know that's crazy, but that's what they said. It's not
Yeah.
me. I'm not saying it. They said it, you know, and you should
Yeah.
grab onto that and take it with you and go, you know what? I got that award. You know why? Because I was the best. You were the
No.
best. They said it.
It's so wholesome. Yes.
But my point is like really take that with you because I think the confidence that will afford you in the future, just in your own person, to be able to say, I've been validated. I've been
Yeah.
validated in what I do. I think
Yeah.
you know you should take that validation, even maybe if you think it's bullshit, take it and say it's not bullshit because it wasn't me, right? And it's no one who knew me, right? You
Yeah,
don't
that's true.
have that many friends that got together and said, we're going to make sure that Alex wins this award, right? Where you're
Yeah.
not Donald Trump trying to get himself back
Stop the
into,
votes.
but yeah, stop the votes, right? You're not like but I paid for
Keep
all
keep
those.
going with the votes.
I paid for all those people to get me that award. Of course I got it.
Yeah.
You know, you're not that much of a fraud. It's legit, you know, it's legit. And you got that award and you own it and take it, you know. You got voted
Oh.
the best. You were voted the best, you know. And
Oh.
I think you should have it and go with it, you know, and take it
Oh,
with you.
thanks.
Well, you know,
Well,
it's
I
not
mean,
me.
I'm
I
hearing what
didn't.
you're saying. I mean, I have to do an audition in like 10 minutes. So
Oh,
I'm
right. Okay.
going to definitely use that sort of
Yeah.
smile
Yeah.
with me and be like, but I have to admit, you psych yourself in and out of auditions sometimes where you're like, oh, I really want to like, I don't know, do good and stuff like that. But I kind of feel a bit more boosted now. So that's good.
Well, take these words with you. Award-winning actress. That's you,
Yes.
right? And you can take those, and that's legit. There's no lie in that at all. That's you. You are an award-winning actress. So,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
take that with you to
Love
your
that.
audition, and boom, smash it.
Yay. I mean, yeah, I wasn't gonna. There's something so funny that I feel like you'll laugh about is yesterday for some reason I was trying to see if I could find this article online, the Empire one.
Mm.
So I haven't Googled myself, like, and there's nothing really to Google, except I found that someone has made a Wikipedia page rating my feet.
What?
I know. It's called
Oh
like
man, there's
wikifeet.com.
weird people out
And
there.
yeah, and it was very funny. There's like 3 pictures. I don't know how they got it off my Instagram because I clearly don't photograph my feet because I've just got like really weird toes. But anyway, I got like 3.5 out of 5 for my feet. And I was like, who am I? And who are these people? But then there was someone else that made like a write-up about me that was like, she doesn't talk much about her money, but we can tell that she earns a fortune. And I was like, what the
God,
fuck?
send me that fortune. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was
I'd
like,
love
this
to
is
have
so
it. Yeah.
funny. I could not stop laughing. I was like, I hope this is
Yeah.
a bot because if this is a bot, this is the best bot ever.
Yeah.
It has to be like,
Yeah.
you know.
Great. Well,
But
yeah, if you don't want to take the award-winning actress there, take the feet award-winning actress with you. These
the
feet,
3.5.
these feet have won awards.
Yeah.
They're part of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but good on you, good on you.
Oh,
And look,
cheers.
I wish you all the success in the world in the
Well,
future.
thanks.
And
Right back at you.
well, who knows what will happen there? But
No, it'll be great.
yeah, you got to have a go, don't you? You got to try,
Yeah.
right? And if you try, yeah, it's funny, it's like people say, "Oh, you're so lucky, to have got there." And it's like I remember this old saying that hard work makes luck. You know,
Mm,
the harder you work, the luckier you become.
interesting.
Yeah, because really, the things that other people look at and say, "Oh, she's so lucky. Oh, look, she's so lucky. She got that award," and yet years and years of
Oh,
putting
yeah.
putting time and effort and all those sort of things into it as well. So
Yeah,
it's all
definitely.
part of it. Yeah,
Lots of ups and downs, lots of not luck. And then I guess sometimes
yeah,
things do happen because I think often people talk about the success of it or, winning awards and, the luck moments. But then obviously there are so many knockbacks or so many moments where things don't go your way and you're like, will I ever recover from this?
yeah,
And then I think it's that perseverance. I mean, really, you're just whittling out the stuff for yourself and being like, what sort of stuff do I want to make? What am I good at? I mean,
yeah.
I don't really think comedy is my shtick. So, but then I find like
You
I
never
do
know.
tend to like things that are a bit more sci-fi or whatever. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
carving out a bit of a
a niche.
interest
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
And
yeah. Yeah, you get
so
into them. Yeah, and
you
and
just
that's it.
consolidate your craft.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, kind of follow your heart and what you enjoy and what you love and those things tend to, I think throughout history's kind of proven that the people that follow the thing that they love tend to do really well at it, which is crazy,
Yeah.
right? Because like you say, you get those knockbacks and all those sorts of things. And I had this same conversation with Ant, and I think maybe you heard it on the podcast there. But I have the thing where I think, what's it going to mean in 6 months?
Oh,
What's
yeah.
it going to
Yeah.
mean in 12 months? But I find just by removing myself from that, it tends to put the blow, if it's a blow, like something negative, into
Mm,
into a better perspective, where
yeah.
you can deal with it and go, well, yeah, that happened. But in 12 months, you might have the role of a lifetime
Oh my gosh.
and be going, what was I worried about? Why was I worried about
I
that?
know. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, totally. And I think it's just like practice to, not let things affect you so much. And
yeah,
it
true.
absolutely is practice, I think.
Yeah, I
But
think so
also,
too.
if COVID's taught us anything, it's just no one's job is secure, really, unless you're like an
Yeah,
essential worker, right?
yeah,
So if there is something that you're passionate about or at least interested in trying, you don't have to make it a job. You can just try it. And if you love it, keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, my partner, he's a cinematographer, and during Christmas, I bought us canvases for our house. Just be like, let's just finger paint or something like that. Let's just try it, you know, because we've been talking about it for a while, I think, because we were living with Lauren Brunswick at the time. And so the three of us were like, let's make some art.
Yeah.
And then next minute, he's getting commissioned, like $1,000 commissions, because he's never painted in his life. And then cut to, you know, 11 months later, and he's like a commissioned artist. And I'm like, what the frick just happened?
Yeah.
And he was like, I think it was like his, you know, cinematography brain that just knew how to see color and light.
Yeah.
And he loves it so much. And, you know, I guess you would never know unless you tried it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's that. Yeah, we're kind of back to that thing of like the magic moments come from when you just try something else, or someone allows you to try something else. You know, sometimes it's being allowed or given permission or being trusted, or, you know, whatever to do that. Yeah, fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, it's been a blast. It's been a blast. And, you know, chookas, I don't know what to say, like break a leg, you know, all those things.
Yeah,
people have their little crazy things about what to say. Don't say that. Don't say that. And, you know, but for your audition, you know, smash it. That's what I reckon. Go smash it. Go break.
I'm so excited to do it now. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And award-winning actress, you know, take that with you. Take that with you. I reckon take that with you through life, you know. It's already true. It's already true about you, you know, so that's a great thing to have.
Thanks. Well, thanks so much. And I'll talk to you real soon. I can't wait to hear the podcast, and to all the listeners back home.
Yeah. Cool.
Keep on growing.
Awesome. Okay.
Right. Catch you later.
Yeah. Thanks. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.